favorite time of the day, yapping with your yapping and poetry with your favorite tóxica. And I have a few poems. It's been a hell of a weekend. I had a good weekend, a good night yesterday. I went out with friends. So I'm still recovering from that. I found out some news today that, I don't know, it makes me, it really upset me, but, you know, karma will come for some people. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to overreact, or anything like that. I just know that some people are really awful, and, karma will come for them. That sounds so ominous, but I'm a firm believer, like, maybe there will be some poems that I will write about this, but, I don't have to do, yeah. Karma will come for them. That's all I have to say. So anyways, let me go ahead and start reading some poetry. So this is from 2022, and this one's called Diamonds. Diamond. Was I a diamond who rested in front of your eyes? Was I candy that lost its flavor? Was I a trophy you grew tired of? Very, very, these were really all short poems. They're really short poems and very simple. Nothing great, but it is what it is. So I'm going to start with this book right here, which apparently I had a lot of poems for today. And these are from 2022. So let's go ahead and start. And I see there's nobody in my life today, and that's fine. All right. Footprints. These were my footprints in the mud after I left everything and everyone behind. Because one day I got tired. Because one day I was done. Because one day everything became too much. So the only thing I left behind were my footprints in the mud. Obviously, I was still learning how to write poetry. Not to say that I'm great now. But you know, whatever. This is untitled by the prompt, Bloodstained Floorboards. Bloodstained. I don't know. Well, I think I ended up floorboards. The bloodstained floorboards told the story of love gone awry and jealousy that got out of hand. It told the story of a woman who wanted it all at any cost and paid the price with her life. Let me read this again. The bloodstained floorboards told the story of love gone awry and jealousy that got out of hand. It told the story of a woman who wanted it all at any cost and paid the price with her life. It told the story of a man scorned beyond belief and killed the woman he loved. It told the story of a love triangle ending in murder. Oof. Unfortunately, we have a lot of stories like this. And yeah, in society, it's sad, really. All right. And this one's entitled, the prompt was before you I only knew love to be. Okay. Before you, I only knew love to be full of madness and chaos. Before you, I only knew men who used me at their convenience. Before you, I only knew lovers who didn't want to know me beyond the surface. Before you, I didn't know that the person I love could bring a certain kind of tranquility and peace I had never known. I really, really like that poem. I've had instances where I've had relationships like this for a little bit. I don't know. Anyways, the next poem I will not read because it's too personal. And this one's called Busting. I don't know what I really ended up calling, but anyways, let's go. I'm busting out of the norms and conventions that I thought were for me, because trying to fit into society's standards drove me into a deep misery. Instead, the world and everyone else will have to accommodate to me and my madness. Instead, I'm learning that not everyone's for me, and I'm finally okay with that. Because after 41 years, I feel the freedom to be me. Because after 41 years, I feel the freedom to be real. I like how empowering that poem is, but it could use a lot more editing. Yeah, okay. This one was inspired by Gifted Madness. Oh, it's writer's block. Writer's block. I haven't had writer's block in 10 months, and people ask me how I do it. I want to tell them the key to my inspiration was an unexpected tragedy mixed in with a new diagnosis, topped off with suicidal ideation, and feeling the 4 or 5 stages of grief several times in one day. It made me contemplate and inspired me. It made me want to write everything down because I stopped drowning it with alcohol and men. Instead, I let everything out with paper and pen. It became a way to survive and eventually thrive. Okay. I don't know. All right, let's go. Mirror. This one's called Stranger. I look in the mirror and I see a stranger staring back at me. Gone is some of my hair. Gone are some of my curves. Gone are my chubby cheeks. I know I lost weight but all of this feels so strange. I have the figure I always wanted, but still feel grief over the layers and rolls of fat I lost. Because while I finally feel enough and full of self-love, I still miss the woman I once was. Oh. This one's entitled, I never loved you. Your absence didn't affect me. I was fine and okay after you left. I didn't dream about you. I didn't even hate you. I accepted everything right away. I didn't feel a thing. I didn't even cry or feel like I wanted to die. It goes without saying, of course I'm lying. Alright. And this one is Float. I float between who I am and who I once was, and this continued transformation feels confusing and lonely, because as I shed layers of the old me, I want to cry, I want to scream, I want to hold on to the parts of me that believed in love and happily ever afters. But those parts have been replaced by healthier beliefs that solitude suits me, that love really makes me crazy, that I'll be okay if I never fall in love again. And while the limbo I'm in feels like hell, it's necessary to become the woman I need to be. And 4 years later, that's still true. Okay. This one's about my niece. My niece is beautiful and intelligent, and I'm scared for her because I know how cruel this woman... Okay, let's start this again. My niece is beautiful and intelligent, and I'm scared for her because I know how cruel this world can be to a woman, because I know how racist society can be. I want to protect her. I want to defend her from the harsh realities she'll have to deal with, but I can't. Instead, I can only advise her and tell her my wild stories, hoping she'll learn something and won't make the same mistakes. This one's a little spicy, sexy. We'll call this favorite color. I don't want to know your favorite color. In fact, I don't want to know anything about you. Just fulfill yours and mine's primal need to leave. Don't cuddle with me or feign affection or pay me any compliments because I don't have the energy to deal with feelings or get to know you. Cut the bullshit, cut the small talk, cut this part where you screw me and go because... Cut to the part where you screw me and go because I can't give anything more. And this one's when I'm 46. 46. This is how I wanted my life to look like. 46. When I'm 46, I want to be this healthy. I want to be this happy. I want to be this creative. When I'm 46, I want to be free of my matrimonial shames. I want to be free of the remnants of the shame and guilt I hung on to. I want to not be struggling so hard to thrive. When I'm 46, I hope I'm full of love, peace, and tranquility. We'll just end it there. Okay, and this is the last poem from 2022. Something you learned in 2021. In 2021, I learned I didn't need someone else to be happy. I learned I didn't need someone else to feel loved. I learned that I'm powerful on my own. I learned to be okay being alone. And I learned that no matter how sure someone seems of you and claims to love you, sometimes that's not always enough, and it's not their fault or mine. They didn't think I was worth the effort, but it doesn't diminish my worth, and taught me a lot about self-love. Oh, okay. A bit dramatic there. Okay, I don't have any poems from 2023. Let's see if we have anything from 2024. I think this one just goes for tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, this is for tomorrow. These are more poems for 2024. What do we have? Truth. The truth will make things awkward and make people run from you. The truth will take you out of your comfort zone and make people uncomfortable. The truth is liberation and courage from the expectations of others, from the chains of a scripted society prescribed to you and me. Can't stop. Ooh, never mind. This is okay. No, untitled. If I could believe in myself as much as others believe in me, I could do greater things, I could be better. But I'm riddled with anxiety and BPD, so the best I can hope for is wait for the good mood or my goddess complex to kick in, to push myself out of my comfort zone, to experiment with my writing, to text my crush, and otherwise I'm just an emotional mess who's actually quite boring. Alright, and I have more poems tomorrow. I think maybe it was a dud day in 2020. What did I write last year? I wrote a few poems, I guess. I suppose. Urge. The urge to run away comes hard at me. It would be easier to ghost you and block you before this goes on any further. Maybe ChatGPT was right when it called me out on my intimacy and commitment issues. Perhaps I'm not a lover girl after all, and I'd rather stay on the sidelines, living vicariously through anyone. And after all of this time being alone, solitude feels like a mode hard to get rid of. Solitude feels like the freedom to be who I want to be instead of constantly thinking about someone else's feelings. Does this make me a selfish asshole? A forever misanthrope? Or am I allowing my past trauma influence my new love story? As he goes all in and I can barely dip my toe in. Perhaps the answer will be found in time. If this is just my way of protecting myself, or if he's just not the one. It was the latter. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but asshole. I wonder if I'm an asshole for making a con and pro list this early in the game, or if it's my anxiety triggering me to leave you before you change your mind? Or are my doubts legit? My intuition telling me this is nice, but realistically, how long can we keep this up? Because between the distance and the age gap, I'm not sure how to make it work. I don't even know if we're compatible based on what I've seen so far. But I guess time will really tell. Maybe for once I don't need to overthink this and go all in, since we do have chemistry and your values are in alignment with mine. That's messy. Untitled. As I sang to memories with Conan Gray up on stage, I thought about my corner of trauma in my closet, where I keep all of my precious moments tucked away in a cigar box. The pictures, the letters, the emails, the book. Everything that reminds me of you, and you. As I sang to memories with Conan Gray on stage, I realized how much I don't ever want to go to that dark place again, where I was prescribed Buspar when you ghosted me for 2 weeks, where I was the one crying spell away from being institutionalized because we ended so tragically, where I almost crashed out publicly when I found myself in another Heather story. As I sang memories with Conan Gray up on stage, I understood how I never want to relate to this song again, and if there is a next time, I won't keep any evidence of ex-lovers or ex-almost. And Memories is like one of my songs on repeat right now. Oh my God. I wish you could stay in my memories, but you showed up today just to ruin things. I laugh. Untitled. It's been a minute since I've been on the dating scene, and already I find it so confusing, so perplexing, because apparently there is a male loneliness epidemic. And I'm now also competing with AI girls who talk dirty, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to society in the time I've been away? All of this feels so overwhelming for my modern day Victorian girl sensibilities who yearns for a profound connection and deep conversations. And perhaps this time is harder because I'm older and wiser and selective with my time and energy, and not any old Joe who compliments me will do. This time, all of the cards must be on the table, and hard questions will need to be asked, like, are you in alignment with my values? Have you worked out your issues in therapy so I'm not used as a dumping ground for your trauma? And most importantly, are you going to add to and complement the life I've built? Or perhaps my questions are a bit extreme, since I'm barely dipping my toe in. But then again, now I'm mature enough to know what I want, and I'm not wasting my time on anything superfluous that doesn't lead to my happily ever after. Ah. 37. You're now the same age I was when we met, and I wonder if you thought of that on your birthday, or if I ever even crossed your mind and how we used to be. Maybe it's me using my nostalgia as a defense mechanism to not get too attached to the new story I'm writing, but perhaps I'm holding on to dear life, to who we were, for the solid fear of moving on and having it work out, of having to finally turn my narrative around and do an about face on all of the past stories that said love was shit and solitude is freedom. And while all of these are valid reasons for this poem, the main one is I miss you and I wonder how you are. My poems are very telling about what state of mind I was in, and I feel like it has to do also with my intuition. Pathetic. I would die if my friends knew how pathetic I was, how I put on ribs on repeat because it reminded me of that one guy who never took me seriously, who never had the time of day for me, and made me feel like I was never good enough, but yet lit a fire under me where my heart was resuscitated the first time I saw him on stage, the first time we exchanged vulnerabilities face to face, and I thought, this is exactly who I would marry. The first time he told me, don't stop being savage, only to later on let me down again and again. But like a fool in the tarot, I never give up, even when he made it clear. He always chose the safe option, and he never be brave enough to see me as more than a few minutes of entertainment. Yeah, that guy. Maybe my friends or anyone, may my friends or anyone never know how pathetic I was. All in love, willing to risk it all for him. Someone who couldn't appreciate the goddess in front of him. Someone who couldn't even bring himself to give me a smidge of appreciation when I felt disheartened. Wow. Okay, well, I guess we'll end this. I'm going to see what the AI think. Anyways, bye.